Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi concludes his successful South Africa visit for the G20 summit, says it will contribute to a prosperous and sustainable planet. U.S. takes over the rotating G20 presidency. Ukrainian president expresses hope as the U.S. hails progress towards peace plan in Geneva, issues joint U.S. Ukraine statement of refined peace framework. Zelensky expected in Washington soon. Washington to designate Venezuela's Cartel deal laws solved as a foreign terrorist organization for its alleged role in importing illegal drugs into the U.S. Israel kills top Hezbollah's acting chief of staff Ali Tabtabei in the first attack on Lebanese capital in months. Beirut says 5 others were killed and 28 were injured in the strike. India's Jammu and Kashmir to host launch of first ever auction of limestone mineral blocks. Central and Jammu and Kashmir governments come together to accelerate development under the vision of Viksit Bharat 2047. Prime Minister Narendra Modi returns to New Delhi after concluding his successful visit to Johannesburg for the G20 summit. Prime Minister said it will contribute to a prosperous and sustainable planet. Leaders' declaration adopted at the summit puts the focus on key developmental priorities for the Global South. However, Johannesburg summit concluded without the traditional handover of the presidency to United States. DD India's Amritpal Singh reports.
The Johannesburg summit of the G20 concluded without the traditional handover of presidency from South Africa to the United States, which has now assumed the presidency for next year. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa announced the end of the South African presidency by tapping the gavel.
I now say that this gavel of this G20 summit formally closes this summit and now moves on to the next president of the G20.
We'll get to that report in a while, but at present we'll take you live across to Rashtrapati Bhavan, where President Draupadi Murmu is administering the oath of office to Chief Justice of India, Justice Suryakant. These are the visuals we're getting for you from the Rashtrapati Bhavan in the national capital, where Justice Suryakant will take oath as the 53rd Chief Justice of India, marking the beginning of his 14-month tenure in the country's highest judicial office. Political leadership and eminent personalities from the legal fraternity of the country have gathered at Rashtrapati Bhavan to witness the oath-taking of Justice Suryakant as the Chief Justice of India. President Draupadi Murmu will be administering the oath of office to Justice Suryakant. He succeeds incumbent Chief Justice of India, Bhushan R. Gavai. Justice Suryakant has had a stellar 4-decade legal career. He was born on February 10, 1962 in Haryana, and here we see President Draupadi Murmu arrive in the hall at Rashtrapati Bhavan.
माननीय राष्ट्रपति महोदया, आपकी अनुमति हो तो आज के समारोह का शुभारंभ किया जाए। भारत के मुख्य न्यायमूर्ति श्री सूर्यकांत।
मैं सूर्यकांत,
जो भारत के उच्चतम न्यायालय का मुख्य न्यायमूर्ति नियुक्त हुआ हूँ,
जो भारत के उच्चतम न्यायालय का मुख्य न्यायमूर्ति नियुक्त हुआ हूँ,
ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूँ
ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूँ
कि मैं विधि द्वारा स्थापित भारत के संविधान के प्रति
भारत के संविधान के प्रति
सच्ची श्रद्धा और निष्ठा
रखूंगा।
मैं भारत की प्रभुता और अखंडता अक्षुण्ण रखूंगा।
मैं भारत की प्रभुता और अखंडता अक्षुण्ण रखूंगा
तथा मैं सम्यक प्रकार से और श्रद्धापूर्वक तथा अपनी पूरी योग्यता, ज्ञान और विवेक से
तथा मैं सम्यक प्रकार से और श्रद्धापूर्वक तथा अपनी पूरी योग्यता, ज्ञान और विवेक से
अपने पद के कर्तव्यों का भय या पक्षपात, अनुराग या द्वेष के बिना पालन करूंगा।
भय या पक्षपात, अनुराग या द्वेष के बिना पालन करूंगा
तथा मैं संविधान और विधियों की मर्यादा बनाए रखूंगा।
माननीय राष्ट्रपति महोदया, आपकी अनुमति हो तो समारोह का समापन किया जाए।
these were the proceedings we were getting for you from Rashtrapati Bhavan, where Justice Surya Kant was administered oath of office as the Chief Justice of India by President Draupadi Murmu. And across a distinguished 4-decade career, Justice Surya Kant has presided over thousands of cases, introduced novel interpretations and authored path-breaking judgments. From complex constitutional matters to human rights petitions, Justice Surya Kant's career epitomizes a harmonious blend of judicial service with empathy, academic excellence and an unwavering commitment to the rule of law. Born on 10th of February 1962 in the village Petwar, district Hisar, Haryana, the Chief Justice of India, Surya Kant earned his law degree from Maharishi Dayanand University, Rohtak in 1984. He began his practice at the District Court, Hisar, and then shifted to Punjab and Haryana High Court, specializing in constitutional service and civil matters in 1985. On 7th of July 2000, he was appointed as the youngest Advocate General of Haryana and also designated as a senior advocate. Justice Surya Kant was elevated as a permanent judge of the Punjab and Haryana High Court on 9th of January 2004. He served on governing body of the National Legal Services Authority between 2007 to 2011. He was appointed as the Chief Justice of the Himachal Pradesh High Court on 5th of October 2018. On 24th of May 2019, he was elevated to the Supreme Court of India, Executive Chairman of NALSA since he has been Executive Chairman of NALSA since 14th of May 2025. So it is 24th of November today, Chief Justice of India. Surya Kant has taken oath of office today at Rashtrapati Bhavan. Justice Surya Kant has taken oath as the Chief Justice of India. All right, so those were the proceedings from Rashtrapati Bhavan, and we'll go back to our top story where we were telling you about Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He returned to New Delhi after concluding his successful visit to Johannesburg for the G20 summit. He said that this will contribute to a prosperous and sustainable planet, and also leaders' declaration adopted at the summit puts the focus on key developmental priorities for the global south. However, Johannesburg summit concluded with the traditional handover of the without the traditional handover of the presidency to United States. We get you this detailed report by DD India's Amritpal Singh.
Without the traditional handover of presidency from South Africa to the United States, which has now assumed the presidency for next year. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa announced the end of the South African presidency by tapping the gavel.
I now say that this gavel of this G20 summit formally closes this summit and now moves on to the next president of the G20, which is the United States, where we shall see each other again next year. The summit is therefore closed.
The leaders' declaration adopted at Johannesburg puts the focus on key development priorities for the global south. The declaration also places pointed emphasis on seriousness of climate change. It stresses that increasing large-scale disasters disproportionately affect people in vulnerable situations in ways that exacerbate poverty and inequality. It lists high level of debt as one of the obstacles to inclusive growth in many developing economies. During his 3 interventions at the summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi put forth several proposals, including the global healthcare response, a G20 Africa Skills Multiplier Initiative, and calling for dismantling the drug and terror nexus. He called for revisiting development parameters, offering India's civilizational approach of integral humanism as the way forward. He emphasized on ensuring development that's sustainable, trade that's trusted, and progress in which everyone prospers. In many ways, the Johannesburg Declaration carries forward the outcomes and spirit of the New Delhi Declaration of 2023. It now remains to be seen whether the consensus that has emerged over the past few years of factoring in the priorities and concerns of the Global South continues as the presidency now shifts to the Global North. With cameraman Mohit Joshi, this is Amritpal Singh for DD India in Johannesburg.
Earlier on Sunday, Prime Minister Modi participated in the India-Brazil-South Africa leaders meeting held in Johannesburg, South Africa, and met various leaders on the sidelines. Prime Minister shared highlights of the Sunday's engagements on social media, during which the Prime Minister called on IBSA to send a strong message that reform of institutions of global governance, in particular the UN Security Council, is now not an option but an imperative. On counter-terrorism, Prime Minister Modi emphasized that there should be no room for double standards while fighting terrorism. Prime Minister also proposed establishing an IBSA Digital Innovation Alliance to facilitate sharing of digital public infrastructure like UPI, health platforms like CoWIN, cybersecurity frameworks, and women-led tech initiatives among the three countries.
How are you? I'm fine.
You're watching DD India News. We're waiting for a short break, but after the break, Lithuania's Vilnius airport closed again due to balloon scare. Ex-Prime Minister Han Duck-soo faces final arguments in the alleged insurrection case tied to ex-President Yoon. Krampus parade brings festive scares in Slovenia. Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's get you more updates. The White House said on Sunday that talks in Switzerland on a proposal to end the Ukraine conflict marked a significant step forward. It reaffirmed that any eventual deal would fully uphold the country's sovereignty. The United States and Ukraine said that they had created an updated and refined peace framework to end the conflict with Russia that apparently modified an earlier plan drafted by the Trump administration, which Kyiv and its allies saw as too sympathetic to Moscow. In a joint statement released after talks in Geneva between U.S. and Ukrainian delegations, the two sides said their discussion was highly productive and said that they would continue in the coming days. Though they did not provide specifics about a host of issues that must be resolved, including how to guarantee Kyiv's security from the threat posed by Russia. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who led the talks, said that work remained to be done on questions including the role of NATO, but that his team had narrowed down unresolved issues in a 28-point peace plan for Ukraine championed by President Trump. U.S. and Ukrainian officials were discussing the possibility of Zelensky traveling to the United States, maybe as early as this week, to discuss the U.S. peace plan with Trump. Rubio said that the United States still needed time to address the pending issues. He hoped a deal could be reached by Thursday, but suggested that it could also take longer.
The deadline is we want to get this done as soon as possible. Obviously, you know, we'd love it to be Thursday. We'd love to be. Ultimately, the important point today is that we have made substantial progress. We've really moved forward. So I feel very optimistic that we're going to get there in a very reasonable period of time very soon. You know, whether it's Thursday, whether it's Friday, whether it's Wednesday, whether it's Monday of the following week, we want it to be soon because people are going to, between today and the time we deal with this, more people are going to die. More destruction is going to happen. Our goal is to end this war as soon as possible, but we need a little more time.
President Zelensky said that it was good that Ukraine was engaged in a dialogue with U.S. representatives and noted that there were signals that President Trump's team is hearing us. European officials joined the U.S. and Ukrainian delegations for talks after crafting a modified version of the U.S. plan that pushes back on proposed limits to Kyiv's armed forces and mooted territorial concessions. The European plan proposes that Ukraine be granted a larger military than under the U.S. plan, and that talks on land swaps should start from the front line rather than a predetermined view of which areas should be considered Russian. Zelensky said that Ukraine was grateful to the United States and to President Trump for all the U.S. efforts aimed at helping Kyiv. Zelensky also expressed thanks to Europe and the G7 and G20 groupings of the countries for their help, saying efforts to maintain this support were important.
Now, I'm hearing that partners' intelligence agencies are informing them that the Russian point of view is starting to be introduced, including via some Ukrainian entities. This is something that clearly doesn't help. We have the position of our state. We have our Ukrainian dignity. We have to move in the direction of strengthening it, not undermining it. I am expecting to be heard by those whom that concerns.
At G20, Finland's President Alexander Stubb said that he thought U.S. President Trump was working very hard to find a solution to the Ukraine conflict. He said any peace plans had been floated around, but he declined to give any indication of EU red lines for any potential peace agreement.
I think the plan in many ways is relevant on three levels. One is Ukraine. There are issues linked to land. There are issues linked to troops. Secondly, it is of relevance, of course, for Europe and European security because it touches upon issues linked to the EU and to NATO. And then thirdly, it's also key, and we should not forget this, about the transatlantic partnership, because America's best allies are in Europe, hands down. So in that sense, we're working very closely with both European colleagues and American colleagues and Ukrainian colleagues to find a solution.
All right, our correspondent Amit Mukherjee is joining us to get us more on that. Amit, good morning. We've just given all the developments with regard to Russia-Ukraine crisis, and we've told our viewers how U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has hailed the progress on the Ukraine peace plan. At the same time, he has termed the Ukraine meeting in Geneva probably the best so far. How do we see this further pan out in the days ahead?
Well, Preeti, a lot of hard bargaining till yesterday evening in Geneva, where Marco Rubio, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, actually met the Ukrainian delegations to kind of talk out the 28-point plan, the U.S. proposed peace plan that has been proposed to instill peace to get a breakthrough in the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Now, what remains to be seen is that initially the 28-point plan was acceptable to the Russians. They were very happy about it. Now, what has come out of the deliberations which happened yesterday is now is everybody is looking at right now, because after the deliberations Marco Rubio had with the Ukrainian delegations, a lot of things might have been changed, or a lot of new things might have been proposed by the Ukrainians, because Ukrainians earlier has been saying that the 28-point plan was more tilted towards the Russian side. So what needs to be seen is once Marco Rubio is back in Washington, what actually comes out will be made public as to what the Ukrainians are now looking at. Of course, the bone of contention has been the fact that the plan, Ukraine to surrender regions like Donbas, which is now currently under the Ukrainian control. Of course, apart from the other regions which are under Russian control, they might also have to surrender that. One is that. The other is that the plan also asks Ukraine to forego the demand for new fresh weapons to keep their fight against Russia on. And the third is the plan also suggests Ukrainians to scale down the size of their army, which is now currently fighting the battle against Russia. So these are the three main points which have been the initial bone of contention. Also, the fact that EU has not been engaged in a big way, because the US has kept the EU largely out of this entire peace plan. But again, Ukrainians have been, pressing for the inclusion of EU, as well as certain, demands of theirs to be included in the peace plan. Preeti?
All right, Amit, we leave it here. Thank you so much for joining in with those details. And getting you other news, Lithuania's Vilnius airport temporarily halted operations due to balloons moving towards its airspace, diverting some incoming flights to other cities. European aviation has repeatedly been thrown into chaos in recent months by drone sightings and incursions, including at airports in Copenhagen and Brussels, and the Vilnius closure was the Lithuanian capital's 9th shutdown since early October. Lithuania says the disruptions are caused by weather balloons transporting contraband cigarettes from neighboring Belarus, and blames Belarus President Alexander Lukashenko for allowing the practice, calling it a form of hybrid attack. Lithuania last month closed both crossing points on its border with Belarus in response to the balloon incidents, but reopened them earlier this week as the air traffic interruptions appeared to have stopped. Washington's new terror designation for an alleged Venezuelan cartel will take effect from today. The move expands U.S. legal tools for exerting pressure on Venezuelan authorities, according to the State Department. The U.S. State Department will add up the Cartel de los Soles to its foreign terrorist organization list. Now, this is a designation that Washington says targets a network responsible for violence across the Americas. The U.S. claims the cartel is controlled by President Nicolas Maduro. Officials say the step is part of a wider campaign against drug trafficking and illegal migration, with growing U.S. military footprint in the Caribbean, including an aircraft carrier, now poised to apply additional pressure. The updated FTO list historically focused on Islamist groups, separatist movements, and armed organizations in Mexico and Colombia. Now it expands to include this Venezuelan network amid heightened regional tensions. The Israel Defense Forces said that it has eliminated Hezbollah's chief of staff, Ali Tabtabai, after a rare Israeli strike hit Beirut on Sunday, despite a U.S. brokered truce a year ago. Hezbollah confirmed the death of Tabtabai in a statement, mourning him as the great jihadist commander, showing his seniority, but without giving details about his exact role. Tabtabai was the most senior Hezbollah commander to be killed by Israel since the start of a November 2024 ceasefire aimed at ending over a year of hostilities between the two. Seoul Central District Court is set to hear closing arguments in the case against South Korea's former Prime Minister Han Duck-soo on Wednesday. He faces charges of allegedly aiding ex-President Yoon Suk-yeol in an attempted insurrection. Han, who was Prime Minister under Yoon, became acting president after Yoon was impeached. He then resigned from the post to run in a June election to become the next president, but ended his bid following rift among the conservatives. During the first hearing in September, Han said that Yoon's imposition of martial law was unacceptable. Slovenia's Krampus night drew crowds as demonic, horned figures stormed the streets in Goricain with chains, masks and even mini motorbikes. Performers from across Europe kept the centuries-old folklore alive, showcasing the scary companion of Saint Nicholas who frightens naughty children. The parade, rooted in Central European tradition, aims to preserve culture and bring communities together during the festive season. You're watching DD India News. We're heading for a short break. Stay with us.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Hello. Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout ho gaya.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News. A quick relook at the top stories now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi concludes his successful South Africa visit for the G20 summit, says it will contribute to a prosperous and sustainable planet. US takes over the rotating G20 presidency. Justice Surya Kant takes oath as the 53rd Chief Justice of India. President Draupadi Murmu administers the oath. India witnesses significant stride in naval capability with commission of INS Mahe, the first vessel in the indigenous Mahe-class anti-submarine warfare shallow watercraft series. Ukrainian president expresses hope as the US hails progress towards peace plan in Geneva, issues joint US Ukraine statement of refined peace framework. Zelensky expected in Washington soon. Israel kills top Hezbollah's acting chief of staff Ali Tabtabei in the first attack on Lebanese capital in months. Beirut says 5 others were killed and 28 were injured in the strike. In a major boost to India's coastal security and indigenous defence capabilities, the Indian Navy today commissioned INS Mahe, the first vessel of the Mahe-class anti-submarine warfare shallow watercraft. Chief of the Army Staff, General Upendra Dwivedi, commissioned INS Mahe at the Naval Dockyard in Mumbai. It is for the first time that the Army Chief has commissioned the INS ship. And now we get to details of INS Mahe's strengths in our next report.
A giant leap for the Indian Navy indeed. INS Mahe, the first vessel of the Mahe-class anti-submarine warfare shallow watercraft, was commissioned today. The ceremony at the Naval Dockyard in Mumbai marked a significant step forward in India's Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative. Sleek, compact and bristling with advanced sensors, INS Mahe officially joined the Indian Navy today. Built by Cochin Shipyard Limited in Kochi, the warship is the first of the Mahe class, India's newest generation of shallow water anti-submarine combatants. Designed for operations in coastal and shallow waters, Mahe brings together stealth, speed and high-end anti-submarine warfare capabilities, making it a critical asset for protecting India's maritime approaches.
We are capable of operating next to the coast as well as in open sea. The limitation of bigger ships was there that because of the draft of the ship, they cannot operate next to the coast. But with us, there is no limitation. We can operate from shallow waters to deep seas. I can proudly say that all the weapons and sensors which are fitted on board the ship is indigenized. This gives a proud moment for all Indians who are there, because the MSMEs, the DPSUs, the other industries which are supporting all these components and developing the systems for fighting a war against the enemy is up to the high standard now.
At the heart of the ship's mission is its cutting-edge sonar system, the Navy's eyes and ears under the ocean. It can detect submarines, naval mines and hidden underwater threats with remarkable precision, even in the challenging acoustics of the littorals. When a threat is detected, Mahe is ready to strike. The ship features an IRL anti-submarine rocket launcher, 2 triple lightweight torpedo launchers capable of firing 6 torpedoes, and the ability to deploy deadly anti-submarine mines along strategic routes. In addition to this ASW arsenal, the ship also carries a rapid-firing naval surface gun, giving it the ability to counter fast boats, drones and aerial threats during patrol missions.
So if we talk about the stealth features, this ship is capable of having stealth above water and also the below water. If we talk about the Make in India component, the ship is built 80% indigenously.
With over 80% indigenous components, INS Mahe is a symbol of India's growing shipbuilding capability. The ship takes its name from the historic coastal town of Mahe, and its crest features the Urumi, the flexible sword of Kalaripattu, signifying agility, precision and lethal grace.
The modern India need these kind of modern technologies and these kind of modern ships, wherein the Indian Navy is quite focused on, and at the same time what is most important from the defense perspective is that how indigenous you are. This particular ship is of course more than 80% of the component of the ship is indigenously built, and that's the reason we can say that now the Indian Navy is future ready. Shirshilar for DD India, Mumbai.
The 19th edition of the annual bilateral exercise Surya Kiran between the Indian Army and the Nepal Army will be conducted from 25th of November in Uttarakhand's Pithoragarh. The 14-day exercise aims to strengthen operational synergy in conducting jungle warfare and counter-terrorism operations in the mountainous terrain. It focuses on integration of niche technology to enhance interoperability while sharing best practices, reflecting the shared commitment of India and Nepal towards global peace and security, while further deepening defense cooperation, camaraderie and mutual trust between both the armies. The first ever auction of limestone mineral blocks in India's Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir will be formally launched in Jammu today. Coal Minister G. Krishna Reddy will lead the auction, which reflects strong centre-state partnership and the strategic importance of this initiative for the region. This milestone marks a significant step in advancing the mining reforms introduced under the Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Act in 2015. It is also the first mining block auction taking place in the Union Territory since these reforms, signalling a shift towards transparency, competitiveness and also sustainable development in the mineral sector. A total of 7 limestone blocks covering approximately 314 hectares have been identified across the districts of Anantnag, Rajouri and Poonch. These deposits hold considerable potential of high quality limestone critical to cement manufacturing, construction and other industrial applications. This initiative is expected to pave the way for job creation, revenue growth, industrial expansion and new economic opportunities for local communities, advancing Jammu and Kashmir's development trajectory and contributing to the national vision of Viksit Bharat 2047. Ayodhya is gearing up for a landmark moment on November 25th when Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lead the grand flag hoisting ceremony atop the newly completed Ram Temple. The ceremony, marking the final architectural milestone of the temple's construction is being described by the Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Tirth Kshetra Trust as one of the most significant events since the 2024 Pran Pratishtha. The event's timing on Vivah Panchami, the sacred day associated with the celestial wedding of Lord Ram and Goddess Sita, has added further religious gravity. Ayodhya has been placed under one of its tightest security blankets in recent years. In line with high-level directives, police have ordered the cancellation of all advance bookings made by pilgrims for November 24th and 25th in guest houses, homestays and ashrams located within a 200 meters radius of the temple. Ayodhya Airport has activated a specialized logistical plan. Around 100 additional CISF personnel will be deployed. For Ayodhya, November 25th is shaping up to be a defining chapter, one that marks not only the architectural completion of the Ram Temple, but also the city's growing spiritual prominence and economic transformation. The 56th International Film Festival of India enters its 5th day, with visitors all set to witness a lot of action. From gala premieres to Indian panorama film screenings, around 10-15 films are in fray at the mega event. Apart from that, the masterclasses are also being hosted in parallel that aims to impart knowledge sessions in young and creative minds. When we talk about creative minds, we will also have the winners today of the Creative Minds of Tomorrow challenge that ended on day 4th. Day 4th witnessed a special fashion show promoting India's cultural heritage, and similarly, Day 5 promises to keep the audience hooked to the venue with a lot of entertainment buzz. All right, DD India's Deepika Mehta joins us with more from Goa. Deepika, we've just given a brief hint to our viewers how exciting the day would be ahead when we talk of Day 5th at IFFI. You get us more details. What do the visitors look forward to?
Good morning, Preeti. There's a lot in store for all the visitors here, right from daily screenings, which starts at 11 a.m. here at Inox Panjim, where we are currently present, where the festivities are going on, as this is one of the locations of the IFFI festival. Apart from the screenings, which are categorized under Indian panorama, under gala premieres, under international section, under the competition section as well, there are different sort of festivities which are going on, right from cultural performances, because there are, different cultural groups which are coming in day in and day out to perform here at the open spaces as well, to depict and to uphold the rich cultural heritage and legacy of India, because this is such an event where you will see the entire globe unite under one banner of IFFI. So keep up the rich cultural heritage of India. Many of the cultural performances are also being lined up, and also, as you just told the viewers, yesterday we witnessed a very nice fashion show that promoted the Indian handloom on the 70mm screen. So it was not only a fashion show for the people who are present in person here, but the entire fashion show will also be screened on the screens here at the International Film Festival of India at this particular venue, which is Inox. Now, moving on, but as you told our viewers about the Creative Minds of Tomorrow, now this is the 5th edition of Creative Minds of Tomorrow's challenge, and this is a 48-hour challenge. The 48 hours got ended yesterday on day 4, and today we will have the winners after thorough screenings of all the participants here. Now, there are more than 130 participants participated at this Creative Minds of Tomorrow's challenge. What happens is there are different groups in which all the people come together and participate, and they create a documentary, a film on the basis of the theme which has been allotted, and then the screenings happen, and these screenings are scrutinized, are judged by the jury members, and then they are felicitated. The winners are chosen and the winners are felicitated. Last edition it was Vidhu Vinod Chopra who felicitated the winners. In the last edition it was Amit Saad, the Indian actor, who felicitated the winners, and this time also we are expecting some of the great stars to come here and encourage the young minds and felicitate them at this particular event. Preeti.
All right, Deepika, we leave it here. The day seems exciting and thrilling there at IFFI. Thank you so much for joining in with those details about Day 5 at IFFI. And India is making a notable appearance this year at IDFA, one of the world's most influential documentary film festivals, with a documentary film Red Light to Limelight. Our correspondent Mark Limburg brings us this report from Amsterdam, the Netherlands.
Welcome to Amsterdam, to the International Documentary Film Festival here at the Vondelpark Pavilion, one of the most influential documentary film festivals in the world, and this year India is drawing attention. Every November, filmmakers and audiences from across the globe gather in Amsterdam to watch new documentary films, join discussions and explore how stories shape our understanding of the world. This year, India is represented with the documentary Red Light to Limelight. The film highlights voices that are often overlooked, bringing personal stories into the international spotlight.
It's a story about their spirit, marginalized community spirit. They organize themselves with their creative drive, with their odd creative drive, how they integrate themselves, how they build up their solidarity. It's a very unknown facade of Indian marginalized community. So that's why I would say that it's very important to present this film to the international sector so that the entire world will get to see Indian marginalized community and their creative drive and spirit. So that's why I think the representation of this film to the international audience is very important.
For the Indian filmmaking community, a screening here means visibility, recognition and global conversation.
And I think it's really impressive how a small community like this can create something with such an impact on changing people's lives.
I find it really beautiful that how they showed that how you can come together and create and believe in your dreams.
India's presence at ITFA reflects the growth of new documentary voices, grounded in reality, yet reaching across borders. And here in Amsterdam, these stories meet a global audience. Mark Limburg reporting from Amsterdam for DD India.
You're watching DD Indian News. Are waiting for a short break, but after the break, batter Yashasvi Jaiswal slams gritty half-century to lead India's charge against South Africa. Rajasthan hosts Khelo India University Games for the first time as the 5th edition kicks off in Jaipur. And we also show you how swimmers brave minus 30 degrees Celsius in Russia's Yakutia.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. India and Bhutan, two Himalayan neighbors bound by faith, friendship and ancient cultural ties, mark another historic moment as the sacred holy relics of Lord Buddha complete their special exposition in Thimphu. Here's a report.
The teachings of Guru Padmasambhava, the revered Indian master who carried Buddhism into the mountains of Bhutan, continue to shape the country's identity even today. His message of compassion forms the moral foundation of Bhutan's unique development vision, gross national happiness, a philosophy rooted in spiritual well-being rather than a material wealth. With thousands of devotees gathering each day at the Grand Hall of Tashi Dozong in Thimphu, Bhutan, this exposition has been a profound moment of spiritual unity, and now, as the exposition concludes, a special aircraft will depart from India to Bhutan to facilitate the dignified return of the holy relics. The sacred relics will be brought back to India tomorrow, 25th November 2025. This journey is not just ceremonial. It is a continuation of India's long tradition of sharing its Buddhist heritage with the world. In recent years, India has taken holy relics for global expositions to Mongolia, Thailand, Vietnam, and even Russia, strengthening cultural diplomacy through spiritual heritage. The moment is especially significant as it follows the successful repatriation of the Piprava jewel relics earlier this year, an emotional homecoming hailed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi as the return of a priceless national treasure. In the past few years alone, India's sacred relics have traveled across continents. The Piprava relics from the National Museum were taken to Mongolia in 2022. The sacred relics of the Buddha and his two disciples, enshrined at Sanchi, were displayed in Thailand in 2024. And in 2025, relics from Sarnath were taken to Vietnam for an international exposition. Each journey is a reminder of India's central place in Buddhist history and its continuing role as the custodian of one of the world's oldest spiritual traditions. As the holy relics return home once again, the message they carry remains timeless: peace, harmony, and the enduring light of the Buddha's teachings. Kriti Vadhera's report for DD India.
And up next, we turn focus to sport. We'll talk of cricket first. Batter Yashasvi Jaiswal slammed a gritty half-century to lead India's charge on day 3 of the second test in Guwahati after South Africa put up a formidable total in their first innings. Jaiswal and KL Rahul resumed the Indian innings, but Rahul fell for 22 runs after sharing a 65-run opening partnership with Jaiswal. The hosts were at 96 runs for the loss of 2 wickets. Earlier, Senuran Muthuswamy struck his first test century and Marco Jansen's hammered 93 to guide South Africa to a commanding 489 all out. The tourists are in hunt for their first series victory in India in 25 years after they won the opener of the 2-match series. The stage is all set in Rajasthan as the 5th edition of the Khelo India University Games kicks off on Monday. For the first time, the state is hosting the prestigious university sporting extravaganza with the grand opening ceremony scheduled at Jaipur's Sawai Man Singh Stadium. Over the next 12 days, more than 5,000 athletes will battle for glory across 23 medal sports and also one demonstration event. Take a look.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has always emphasized the importance of promoting sports, athletes and youth. The Khelo India initiative is a result of government's multi-dimensional vision to provide more opportunities for young people to engage in sports. This year, Rajasthan is hosting the Khelo India University Games and the opening ceremony will take place in Jaipur on Monday. And it's not just confined to the state capital. The events will be organized across all 7 divisions of the state. Games will be hosted across 7 cities of the state. The capital city of Jaipur will host a total of 11 sports with athletics, badminton, basketball, hockey, swimming, tennis, football, archery, shooting, Malkhamb and cycling. While athletics, badminton, basketball, hockey, swimming, tennis and cycling will be held at the Sawai Man Singh Stadium. Malkhamb will be hosted at the University of Rajasthan, football at Purnima University and archery and shooting at the Jagatpura shooting range. The city of Ajmer will host rugby from 26 to 28 November 2025 at the Patel Stadium, along with Kho-Kho as a demonstration sport from 1st to 3rd December 2025.
चूंकि ये ओपनिंग सेरेमनी राजस्थान में खेलो इंडिया यूनिवर्सिटी गेम्स की पहली बार हो रही है, तो इसको भव्य करने के लिए सभी तमाम प्रकार की व्यवस्थाएं की जा रही हैं. इसमें कुछ बॉलीवुड सिंगर्स को भी बुलाया जाएगा और हर तरह की व्यवस्थाएं की जाएंगी जिससे कि ये अविस्मरणीय यादगार बन सके.
Meanwhile, officials and staff from the State Sports Department, the Rajasthan State Sports Council, the Jaipur District Administration and the Police Commissionerate are working tirelessly on preparation and security arrangements for the event. According to young athletes of state, they are eagerly waiting for the games, and this major event will not only create a vibrant sports environment but will also serve as a strong source of inspiration for them.
हमें इस बात का बहुत प्राउड है कि पहली बार हमारे जयपुर में ये सब कुछ ऑर्गेनाइज हो रहा है और इससे हमें भी बहुत बूस्टअप मिलेगा, बहुत प्राउड फील होगा. हमें भी आगे मोटिवेशन मिलेगा कि हम भी कभी ऐसे इतने बड़े यूनिवर्सिटीज़ गेम में हम भी कभी पार्टिसिपेट करें.
With the aim of increasing youth participation in sports and providing emerging talent with platform at national and international levels, the Khelo India University Games are set to script a new chapter in sporting landscape of Rajasthan. With Bureau Inputs, Mahesh Dadich reports, DD India, Jaipur.
The Indian men's hockey team opened their Sultan Azlan Shah Cup campaign with a 1-0 win against South Korea in Malaysia. Mohammad Raheel scored the only goal of the game, helping India get over the line. India began the game in promising fashion, stringing together neat passes and dominating possession in the opening exchanges. They eventually made their positive start count when Mohammad Raheel finished off a team move, giving his side a 1-0 lead at the end of the first quarter. Though the Koreans were persistent in their search for a leveller, but the Indian defence was resolute to deny them any opportunity. Indian wrestlers Amit Krishna and Sumit Dahiya have reached the finals in their respective categories at the Deaflympics in Tokyo. Amit Krishna will face Anatoly of Ukraine in the 86 kg weight category final, while Sumit Dahiya will take on Saner Omer of Turkey in the summit clash of 97 kgs weight category. Ghanshyam will compete for the bronze medal in the 125 kg category on Monday. So far, Indian athletes have clinched 16 medals, including 7 golds, 6 silvers and 3 bronze medals in the tournament. In Russia's Yakutia region, one of the coldest places on earth, members of a winter swimming club took an icy plunge as air temperatures fell to minus 30 degrees Celsius. Yakutsk, located 5,000 kilometers east of Moscow on the permafrost, is known as the world's coldest large city. Many believe winter swimming strengthens immunity and helps the body resist illnesses. In the harsh Yakutsk winter, minus 30 degrees Celsius is considered relatively warm.
Егор, может быть, еще отдельно или не получится во второй раз секшн-то?
Ну сейчас, давай на цель. А поплавать?
All right, with that adventurous note, we end this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. Now, this app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.